Hey guys, it's Lala Lottie and welcome back to another video. Now when it comes to manga and anime, we can all agree that there are some series in which we wish there was a different ending, or we feel that it could have gone in a different route. But what if there was one series that just completely took a different route, shocked all the fans, and became one of the most controversial pieces of manga ever written? Well, today I'm here to talk to you about that. Today we're going to be talking about a manga that solidified itself in the manga community as being one of the most wholesome manga ever written, to being one of the most controversially discussed manga of all time. Now, this is not a very recent manga, and for some of you older manga readers, I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about, and that manga is Usagi Drop or Bunny Drop. Now, Usagi Drop basically follows our main character whose grandfather ends up impregnating a woman and having a child in which he cannot look after due to his old age. This girl is very looked down upon within her family and no one really wants to take care of her, considering she's the offspring of such a really weird, complicated relationship, and they feel that taking care of her would be kind of a weird obstacle. But our main character decides to take on this responsibility and look after our main character. Now, after taking on the responsibility of caring for this young girl, we slowly start to see a relationship develop of a kind of father and daughter relationship. Although in a way, she is his aunt. It's a very complicated relationship, but it's such a strong bond. And it shows that no matter how complicated family is family, and you gotta look out for each other. The relationship of our main characters is a very well developed relationship. We see our main character go from this very kind of drowsy businessman to becoming a very well developed family man who really cares for this young girl who's been put into his care. And we see this young girl who's felt a lot of neglect from her family finally find love and acceptance in someone from her family, and it's one of the most beautiful relationships ever. But like I said, this went from wholesome to a whole level of weird in very short time. This next part will contain a massive amount of spoilers for the Usagi Drop manga, so if you are reading or plan on reading or watching the anime, please click off this video now. Like right now, I'm giving you the 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So our main character basically tells the young girl he cares for that when you're ready, you can choose what you want our relationship to be. If you see me as your nephew, if you see me as your father, it's up to you as to what you see me as. And I was slowly looking forward to this development because I was gonna be like, she's gonna tell him like, you're my whole family, it's gonna be a very wholesome, but boy did they disappoint. They did not do that, did they? They just decided to go a whole completely different route after building up this very wholesome relationship, building up this very accepting manga. They just went, no. You thought you had wholesomeness? We're not gonna do that. When we see this young girl grow up and she slowly becomes a young adult, she finally gets to make her decision as to what her relationship with him is going to be. And it is creepy. She tells him she wants to see him as her lover. You heard me right, her lover. Now, I know some of you people who have already read this manga will be watching this video and be like, how quickly they ruined that. There'll be the creeps of you who will watch this and be like, oh, what's wrong with that? And then there'll be the many of you who are like, well, I was thinking of picking this up, but fuck that. But yeah, I think it's fair to say they could have gone the wholesome route of being like, you're my entire family, you are my father, something along those lines, something very wholesome. But they decided to make it something very, very weird. And it was very uncomfortable for a lot of people to read. And it was around volume 6 that this happened. And the anime didn't even have a second season. It didn't even manage to continue into this. So if you want to go ahead and watch the anime, don't even worry, you'll miss that. Stick to the anime, don't read the manga, trust me. This is the only instance where I'll tell you the manga is absolutely disgraceful and will ruin the series for you, so do not read it. Stick to the wholesomeness you've seen. But this manga basically, they give us this really well-developed family relationship in a complicated family, and then they went ahead and took it and turned it into something very uncomfortable for the reader. It was honestly the first time where I have read something and I felt like tearing up, not out of sadness, but out of disappointment. I heard that there was a very controversial and disappointing ending, but when I read this, I did not expect what I got, because it was just so disturbing and disgraceful that my heart honestly shattered into a million tiny little pieces. So here's kind of where I look at this manga, and I have many questions. Do we look at this manga and do we accept it for what it did? Do we look at the relationship it developed as a family and kind of cut it off at that point just before a disgusting little thing happened? Or do we just kind of forget that it existed? Now, a large portion of you will watch this video and you will not even know what this manga is. I will be even surprised if one viewer knows what this manga is, because the manga community, as soon as this controversial part came out, they shredded it. No one wanted to watch it anymore. No one wanted to invest themselves in this anymore because of how disgusted they were with what they decided to do. And in all honesty, I don't blame them. But at the same time, we have to kind of look at the relationship they developed for, and we kind of have to look at that. And it's kind of like, if we take away what they did with the end, is the series still worth reading? And in all honesty, I'm gonna say it, yes it is. As someone who's come from a very complicated family and has had that struggle of finding what family is and the meaning of family, I think this was one of the best written series into looking at that. If only they didn't do what they did, it would have been perfect. It would have been considered a masterpiece. And I honestly think today it would be on the same level as shoujo manga such as Fruits Basket. It was just that one little thing they decided to do that just completely butchered the entire thing. And for y'all who will have the nerve to defend what they did, I'm just gonna say it now. I have no respect for you whatsoever. There are plot twists and endings you can do. And you could kill off a character. And you could do something for a bit of shock. But this wasn't shock. This was creepy. And to not even mention that, like, she's his great aunt it's kind of Sweet Home Alabama. But yeah, in a way, I do very much advise that people read this manga, because I do feel like it is one of the manga that kind of paved a way for a lot of manga that we read today. It is one of the most influential series out there, minus what happened at the end. But we don't talk about that. It's Bruno. I'm gonna call it Bruno because we don't talk about Bruno. But I do understand that people will go ahead and say read the entire series for what it's worth, or just completely cut the series off, never read it at all. And I feel like if you watch this video and you're disturbed by what you've heard, you could always start to read it, and you could go from volume 1 to the end of volume 5. I wouldn't recommend going forward after that. Like, as someone who's only recently started collecting manga over the recent years, I will say Usagi Drop has been a series that I was like iffy about picking up. But so far I do have volumes 1 to 3 in my collection, and I'm trying to only get up to volume 6. I don't want anything after that. I don't. I just want to collect all the wholesome pieces, because it was honestly it was this far from being a 10 out of 10 for me, but as soon as that happened, it went out to a 7. But like I say, we look at some series like Attack on Titan, they do a plot twist, they do an ending that people don't enjoy, and when I see the reaction that fans have to that, and they're like, I'm never gonna read it, Isayama, peace again, whatever this studio comes out with, I'll never watch again, I kind of look at that and I'm like, is this really the most controversial thing? Is it? Is it really? I feel like a lot of plot twists and things that are added to the end of the series that would disappoint fans will never reach the same level as this. And I feel like at the end of the day, because I was someone who had a lot of feelings about the end of Attack on Titan and other series where the ending wasn't perceived to be as amazing as it was going to be expected to be. And I look at those series and I look at this and I'm just like, it could have been much, much worse, and I'm just grateful it didn't. So yeah, I guess that's this video. I really wanted to talk about this manga in a way, because I remember the manga community being so big on it, and now I see nearly no one talk about it. And considering how big it used to be, I feel like it does deserve the reputation, just maybe not a good reputation towards the ending. And I'd love to see this manga be more talked about. I'd love to see discussions be opened about it again, because we don't see them anymore, and it is such an amazing series. Up to the point. Up to the point. I keep saying up to the point, but y'all don't realize, you do not realize how bad it really was. But yeah, I guess with that being said, that is the end of this video. Anyways, I absolutely adore you guys, and I really want to hear your opinions about this manga. If you plan on checking it out, if you have checked it out, I want to hear every single voice and opinion about it. Let me know in the comments below. Let's just hear everything that needs to be said about this. But anyways, I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. So for now, farewell, friendly eye. Bye!